Okay, so episode 3, Volcano. In this episode, the boys go on a little camping adventure with Uncle Jimbo and his friend Ned. And up until this point, we haven't heard about Uncle Jimbo or Ned whatsoever. But the thing that I kind of find interesting now is that in more recent episodes, we don't hear about them whatsoever. I mean, yeah, they're in the video game, and Uncle Jimbo has his own gun store, and you can do like a little side quest for him to like kill certain things. But just in just in recent episodes, I haven't heard about them whatsoever. Which whatever, like they weren't my favorite characters, but I thought they were kind of important. Although I always get confused, I never know whether they are I never know whether Jimbo is related to Sharon or Randy. So I've always wondered that. I probably should have Googled that beforehand. But yeah, so I kind of think that this episode was a little bit about gun control, how people who are hunting go crazy. I mean, in this one, Jimbo just kind of says, yeah, well, we can. Jimbo basically says, we can shoot whatever we want as long as we say it's coming right toward us. Even if it's not. Like, even if. Just like multiple times in the episode, there'd be an animal just kind of there, not doing anything. And Jimbo would be like, oh, guys, look at that nice bear. It's coming right toward us, and then shoot it, and then it would die. And that was okay. Like, I've never been hunting before. I probably know a few people who hunt, but I would think I would feel too guilty if I hunted. I don't like seeing animals die, even though I eat them, which is a weird paradox. Whatever. So, yeah, in this episode, I think Cheesy Poofs is mentioned for the second time. The first time Cheesy Poofs was mentioned was in the very first episode when Stan and Wendy are looking at Stan's vomit. She's like, oh, what's that? And then Stan's like, oh, yeah, that's a piece of Cheesy Poofs. So that's kind of weird. So something else I want to mention in this episode is that before Eric leaves, his mom is like, oh, I love you so much, being a mom. And saying things like, I love you, I bought you a whole bunch of snacks, be safe, don't use poison ivy as toilet paper, and then all of the boys start making fun of him, and I guess that's kind of a thing that children do. I think, yeah, when I was in kindergarten, kids made fun of me because my dad still had me in a little car seat. That was fun. But something that I find very endearing is that Kenny, because we can't really, it's hard to hear what he's saying because of his parka. Kenny probably said something really sexual towards Cartman's mother as a joke, and then Cartman hit her. Cartman hit Kenny, and I think that's kind of sweet in a way that Cartman is willing to defend his mother. So I don't know, just kind of warmed my heart. Another thing in this episode is that throughout the whole thing, it's just kind of one of the themes is jealousy, I think, because Stan is super jealous of Kenny the whole time because Kenny is the one who is making the jokes, and Kenny is the one drinking gasoline and shooting stuff all the time. So Uncle Jimbo and Ned are very, very impressed with him, and Ned even calls him his honorary nephew, and that makes Stan feel very sad. I think I'd be sad too if I was in Stan's position. I mean, jealousy is not a pretty thing. So yeah, in this one you get a lot of Vietnam jokes. Well, it's the first mention. They don't joke about it in this one. They continue to mention Vietnam a lot in this one because Jimbo and Ned fought in it. I don't know. Growing up, it was always kind of like a joke that, people would start talking about their war times. So yeah, I found it really interesting how Jimbo was more concerned over his beer rather than gun safety, but I think that's just kind of like a little thing that South Park would do, I think. Let's see. Oh, in this episode, I think it's the first time that Cartman makes fun of hippies because he said, he said something around the lines of, if you can't shoot, then you're a hippie and you suck. Something around those lines, and as we all know, Cartman does not like hippies. For some very weird reason. In this episode, we also get to see the first appearance of Randy, and his hair looks a little bit different in this one. And he is a geologist, so that's noted. I forgot whether it was Trey or Matt that this character was based off of because one of their fathers is an actual geologist in real life, and he is also named Randy. I think it's Matt's family that is. I think it's Matt's family. I'm pretty sure it's Matt. I'll check. But yeah. Let's see. I will say that in this episode, Randy seems a little more responsible and very calm as. Because if you compare Randy, like, in this episode to Randy in later episodes he just yells a lot. I just he just screams and stuff, and I love Randy. He's probably one of the best TV dads I've ever seen, only because he's so ridiculous. But in this one, he's just very calm. Doesn't really when he saw the fire, when he was looking at the little, that machine that has a little pen that goes like this, and then when it goes like that, it means there's like a huge earthquake. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. And then he saw it, and he was pretty calm about it. Then he looked outside and he saw the volcano, and he was just like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he took a drink of coffee. Yeah. So Randy's a lot calmer in this one. And let's see. Oh, another notable thing is that. Also another thing about Randy. It's not stated that that's his dad. It's not stated that it's Stan's dad yet. So far, he's just some geologist. We don't really know his name or his relation to anyone. So yeah. Anyways, so we get to meet the mayor in this episode. She's not very smart. She confused geologists with gynecologists. And something that really struck me was that she was more concerned over being on television than actually saving the children and her town. She called her assistant, and the first thing that she said was, "Call Inside Edition and get my stylist." I think that was them poking a jab at certain politicians who don't really care about what's really going on. They just want to look good on TV. I mean, Mayor, the mayor, she just kind of why did I say Principal Victoria? The mayor, she was just kind of she was fake crying and fake caring over these kids who are obviously in peril. So yeah, let's see. So probably a punch that they threw out here was through the character Scuzzlebutt. They said that he uses Patrick Duffy as a leg, and he has celery as an arm, and he weaves baskets. And the whole Patrick Duffy part, I honestly didn't get at first. I've never seen whatever show he was on. I think it was Step by Step. I don't even know. Again, some of the jokes in South Park kind of fall flat, considering I was 3 years old when this one came out, and they're just they're very decade specific, and I have no idea who Patrick Duffy is. I don't really think it even matters anymore. So yeah, I think that, in this episode, out of all of the characters, and probably throughout the first season, and in this episode particularly, the most responsible adult is Chef, because he was the only one who was come on guys, we need to go help the kids. And even, there was a point in this episode where they were making fun of training films, and the training film that was showcased here was called Duck and Cover. And at the end, and basically all it was when there is lava coming down, all you have to do to be safe is duck and cover, which, as we all know, isn't true. And then a lot of townspeople died from that. And then Chef, right after he saw that video, he was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen." So yeah, Chef is, so far, he's the only character, the only adult who actually knows what's going on and cares for the children. So yeah, also, Mr. Garrison looks normal in this one. In the very first episode, his face was weird, but this one he looks normal. Kenny we think Kenny dies a couple times by getting hit by the fireball, getting caught on fire, and then being ran over it, but he doesn't die. He dies because Ned is "I'm done with guns," pretty much, drops the gun, and then it shoots Kenny, and that kills him. So yeah. Also, going back to Chef, this original song Hot Lava comes out in here. Wow, I just wonder what goes through Chef's head. Just all the women he's been with. Also, in the end, Stan kills Scuzzlebutt, which I thought was kind of sad because he gave like yellow flowers to the mayor, and then when Scuzzlebutt died, I was so sad. And at the very end, Cartman says, yeah, at the very end, the kids were like, well, you know what? Hunting is boring. Let's go watch cartoons. And then Cartman says, cartoons kick ass. And I kind of think that that's Trey and Matt saying, yeah, cartoons are awesome. But whatever. So yeah, that is my blog, and I'm proud of myself because this is under 20 minutes, and this is probably going to be around 11. So thanks for watching. What else? Yeah, that's about it. Oh, fine, I might as well say this. So in the bootlegs that I got, it counted this episode as the second one. So I thought this was the second episode, but it's not. It's really the third. So I'm going to watch and make a vlog about the second episode, and then I'll just upload this one and the second episode together so that they're in order, because I like things being in order. So thanks for watching. Yeah.